It'll shine like a candle when your world is dark and cold. When your world is dark and cold.
Oh yeah, you are right. These guys sound great. We had some fun. We had some time to visit when these guys did an eTown taping in Boulder, and afterwards we went over to my house and went down in the basement and opened up some guitar cases and had some really got to play some unusual stuff. But what's wild is that he told me a story right before we started here today that I just have to ask you about. He said, yeah, I just came across this guitar that was in a closet for a long time. Tell me what you said.
I recently restored a guitar that was built by my grandfather in prison in the early 60s in Jackson, Michigan. He was in there for about 2 years, 1960 to 1962, and when he left with a guitar and a jewelry box that he built. He built the jewelry box for my grandmother, and he built a guitar for himself. And it was sort of in pieces for years, I mean, for years and years, but I got it all restored and put back together. And it's a prison guitar. So we figured we would show you guys. Check it out, Nick.
Wow. It's kind of a, for those listening on the radio, it's kind of a modified Strat with a super elegant headstock. And it's got Gibson markings on the fingerboard, and it's sort of a Fender style. The back is carved. It looks like it's made out of mostly one.
It's made out of cedar. We think it was made out of a table. Like the body was made out of a tabletop, and the neck was made out of the table leg. And that guitar was totally off an old Gibson acoustic guitar. The fretboard was off an old Gibson acoustic, and the guitar is all cedar, which is a pretty soft wood, and Grandpa did not put a truss rod in this thing, so we went ahead and did that and made, we trued up the neck, and I had these pickups custom made. The fellow that did most of the work in the restoration, his name is Dave Johnson, and Scale Model Guitars is his company in Nashville, Tennessee. And Steve Mather was the guy who made these pickups. And he, this wooden pickguard, as you can see, it's pretty wild. And we didn't want to manipulate anything here. All these little chisel marks and stuff are still what my grandpa did with a screwdriver or whatever in prison. And we made these pickups to fit the holes that were already in the wooden pickguard instead of trying to, manipulate the wood or cut something that he made.
And tell me about those. Is it EE or 33?
It's a 33.
Yeah.
So the 33 is it's our number. I was born on October 3rd, and that's my grandpa's birthday. That's why I was named Billy. And thank you. So also when he was a race car driver. He drove stock cars on a dirt track, and his number was 33.
Wow.
And 33 is just a number in my family. My mom, my aunt, my dad, everybody. Every time I look at my watch, it's 333, and I remember sitting on his lap when I just turned 6 that day, and I was sitting there, and he goes, 6 and 60. And so the threes have always been a thing, since I was born on his birthday. My name was going to be Turner Fairfield Apostle.
Turner Fairfield Apostle.
My dad grew up on Turner Street, and my mom grew up on Fairfield, and they intersect like that. So they were going to call me Turner Fairfield, but I came out on October 3rd on Grandpa's birthday. So that's what the 33s are all about.
Wild. So wild. So cool. So you know what? Let me just say, so we like our artists to be authentic, right? We like our artists to be soulful and legit and giving it all they've got. And we love a good backstory. And but let me just tell you, that's so amazingly bluegrass to be able to say what he just said. Here's a guitar my grandpa made in prison. We have the same birthday. And I mean, this is just so cool, and I really appreciate you being candid about it. Not, you know, Billy, not everybody would say, oh yeah, here's a story, or just, you know, they might be.
It's too cool not to talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Since I found this guitar, you know, I remembered finding this guitar in my grandma's closet when I was a little kid, and then so, you know, a couple months back, that memory just popped into my head, and I called my uncle, where's this guitar at? And he said, it's in my closet, you know, so we got it back together. But since digging into this thing, you know, we're doing a story with Fretboard Journal about it, and I've called my uncles and aunts and, you know, all the people that, you know, in my family, what was going on back then, and, you know, I've learned so much more stuff about my grandfather and my grandmother.
Oh yeah, that sounds a little tantalizing. I mean, can we get just like one little tidbit that you learned about your grandmother and grandfather?
Okay, so, well, she would apparently sneak onto, you know, the prison grounds and, you know, bring 6-packs and stuff like that, you know, when they were working out in the yard, and he would kind of make deals. Also, another really cool thing about this guitar, all of the chrome stuff that was on here before was all chrome plated at the GM plant, because my great-grandfather worked at the GM plant up in Detroit, and so this guitar originally had Oldsmobile knobs for the volume, like the car radio knob.
Right, yeah.
And so all the stuff that was the keys and stuff, everything used to be, all the original stuff, which is long gone, but apparently it was all chrome plated at GM and then smuggled back in so that Grandpa could complete this guitar.
So what?
One other really cool thing about this, I told you my grandpa was a race car driver. There's parts of this guitar where he was making it and he sort of overshot a little bit, and so he compensated with Bondo. There's Bondo on the inside of this guitar that screws are screwed into, where he cut the wood where he shouldn't have, and oh, dang, I'll just replace it with put some Bondo in there.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a race car, you know?
Yeah, so that is a story that just gets cooler and cooler. And someday when the book comes out, you'll know all the details. But I just thought, when you told me that before the show, I thought it was definitely something we wanted to share with our people. Because the thing about this is, like, we're all just kind of hanging out. Let me just say, let me just change guitars stories for a minute. And I can't help but notice that you're playing the guitar that really used to belong to my bandmate Brian Sutton. And I don't know what the hell you're doing with that guitar, buddy. I think that's Brian's guitar.
I'm playing it less good than it used to be played.
No, that's really cool. So,
and I'm getting sweat all over it right now.
Yeah. At least he won't be nervous about it. Yeah, that's cool. But I know you and Brian had a really special connection, and he recorded with you on your new record. And Brian's a great player, but also a great buddy and a great mentor. So that's so cool to see this in your hands. It's really awesome.
It's a great guitar, yeah, and you know, I love this thing, you know, and I've seen Brian play it plenty of times, and somehow he's kind of, we're both lucky with guitars, you know.
Yeah.
I know he had this thing sort of sitting around, and I was looking for a guitar with a neck that's shaped like this one, a little bit smaller, not the 1 3/4 spacing, but the 1 11/16. And this guitar, the neck is just perfect, and yeah,
it's awesome. Well, it's in really good hands, and I'm really glad you're here. We're going to get back to music. Welcome back, if you would, along with his killer band, Mr. Billy Strings.